This is The Truth. I'm John Gordon. Today we're going to be exploring the truth of what Palm Beach, Florida real estate sells for. Palm Beach is nestled in the southern part of Florida, just north of Miami and Fort Lauderdale, and is a small island surrounded by water on four sides and home to the rich and famous, the likes of Bon Jovi, Sylvester Stallone, Howard Stern, the late Rush Limbaugh, and Donald Trump. Well, liberal Democratic New York Judge Arthur Engoron, who I affectionately refer to as Judge Ignoramus, declared that Mar-a-Lago, the estate of the former 45th President of the United States, is worth a mere $18 million. So we're going to set out today to determine exactly what $18 million will buy in Palm Beach. Just behind me is the Palm Beach Marina, home to some of the largest and most expensive yachts in America, and their owners, many of them, live in Palm Beach. Well, let's go find out what it's like to live in the home of the rich and famous, the land of yachts, private airplanes, and multi-million dollar estates. Let's go. Our first stop is just across the Intercoastal Waterway from Palm Beach. Many Palm Beachers have relocated to the Bristol Condominium. It is a luxurious condominium building just 2 miles north of Mar-a-Lago and across the Intercoastal. So, for $25 million, you can have a 5,000 square foot condo on the 22nd floor. Oh, and it does come with 2 parking spaces. Behind me is located in the heart of Palm Beach, 2 miles north of President Trump's home at Mar-a-Lago. This home has 4 bedrooms, 6 baths, is 6,400 square feet, and sits on less than a half an acre of land. The price for today, and today only, $17 million. Just behind me is the famous Worth Avenue, Palm Beach's version of Rodeo Drive. It's just down here about a football field away. You can see the clock tower in the background. And across the street with beautiful views of the Atlantic Ocean is a condominium. The condominium is 5,100 square feet, a little more, with 3 bedrooms and 5 baths. It's a beautiful building, and it sells with no property, $19,500,000. We're now standing in front of Palm Beach's, well, actually Florida's most expensive home. It's called Tarpon Island. It is a majestic home in Palm Beach, and you can have it for $187.5 million. And by the way, it sits on 2 acres of land. Sitting behind me is the famed Mar-a-Lago, residence for the 45th President of the United States, Donald Trump. In the 1990s, after he bought it, he converted it to a private club. There are reportedly some 500 members who paid anywhere from $100,000 to $200,000 to join, and $14,000 a year in dues. The club is 62,500 square feet and sits on 17 acres of the choicest Palm Beach land in the entire county. Now, Judge Engoron, or Judge Ignoramus, who on Wikipedia is reported to have taught piano and drums before becoming a judge, has valued Mar-a-Lago at $18 to $22 million. I find no real estate background in his resume or in his past, and based on his valuation and what we've shown you today, what do you think Mar-a-Lago is worth? Please tell us in the comments on this video how much you would like to offer for Mar-a-Lago. It's on the National Historic Register. It is a beautiful building with an historic past. Marjorie Merriweather Post built the structure in the 1920s, and it has been a Palm Beach landmark, iconic landmark ever since. So tell us in the comments what you think Mar-a-Lago is worth. Tell us what you think of Judge Ignoramus and his valuation of $18 to $22 million. Now that we've shown you comparable property listed for sale in that price range in Palm Beach. So we're here with Rick Hussey. He is a longtime resident of this area. He was actually born and reared in West Palm Beach. And we caught up with Rick right outside of Mar-a-Lago. Now, do you follow I think the president's just going by, actually.
Yes, that was him. He likes to do that when we're all here. He'll come by a couple times.
Does he ever stop and say hello?
He'll stop and wave, and he gives out hats sometimes.
Oh, nice.
Yes.
Well,
you want to know about Mar-a-Lago, right?
Yeah, and you know this. Have you followed this court case up in New York with Letitia James and Judge Ingeron?
Yes, I have.
Who I refer to as Judge Ignoramus.
Yes, yeah, that's the one.
Yeah. Well, he says Mar-a-Lago is worth $18 million. What do you think?
Who? Oh, the judge?
The judge did.
Oh,
He said that Trump lied and said it was worth hundreds of millions. He said
can't
it's only worth
imagine.
18.
They gave it to the country, to the United States back when Nixon was president, and I don't know how much they was worth then, but they paid $1 million a year just for upkeep. So I would guess at around 200 million, at least 150 million. It's a beautiful place. It's been there forever. Marjorie Merriweather Post built it, and it's famous. I know. I'd like to buy it for $18 million if I had it.
So what do you think about all these cases that are going on that are attacking our former president? Right now, you've got Alvin Bragg, who is accusing him of false reporting, calling the $150,000 paid to Stormy Daniels.
Right.
He called it legal expense. The prosecutor says that that's a criminal felony violation for not listing it as hush money or whatever he thought it should be.
I don't believe any of that. The next thing you know, they'll be charging him with ripping a tag off of a mattress, and charging him for a felony for that.
Yeah, how about Fonnie Willis? Have you watched that up in Georgia?
No, I can't stand the woman.
Yeah, she thinks that he is interfered with the election because he claimed that Georgia was rigged and not a fair, open, honest election.
I think that's just a bunch of baloney myself, so, that's why I'm here.
And then we got Jack Smith, the federal prosecutor, saying that right over there that Trump had classified documents that he took without authority.
So did Biden. So I don't know what they were. We haven't been told what they were, so if they were there, I would think that he had permission to have them.
Well, thank you very much for stopping and speaking to us.
Where are you from?
I live right over there. We hope you enjoyed today's tour of Palm Beach real estate. I think it should be pretty obvious that Judge Ignoramus better stick to playing the piano and playing the drums instead of valuing real estate, because it's obvious he is as clueless as he is stupid. Forgive me, but that's the way I see it. What do you think? Let me know in the comments your thoughts. But I think it's pretty well accepted that real estate values are best determined on comparables. So we've shown you what comparable real estate $20 million will buy in Palm Beach with just in a 2-mile radius of Mar-a-Lago. So that gives us a good starting point. And then the most expensive home in Florida for sale right now is the one that we showed you on Tarpon Island for $187 million on just 2 acres of land, while Mar-a-Lago sits on 17 acres of land. So if you want to get more granular and you want to look at other comparables, just a mile south of Mar-a-Lago, a very wealthy billionaire named Ken Griffin has assembled 25 acres of property. Now, he has paid hundreds of millions of dollars for houses that he has then torn down. So basically, he's paid $450 million just for raw land. So if we take that as a starting point, he's paid $18 million an acre for the property. Using that as a comparable, that would put Mar-a-Lago at a value of $306 million just for the property itself. Now you add on top of that the building. It's 62,500 square feet. Now I have been to Mar-a-Lago. I've had the privilege of being there a number of times, probably well over a dozen, maybe 2 dozen. It is absolutely incredible. Everything is gold leaf and gold plated, and the finest finishes. Cheryl Wagner fixtures in the bathrooms, and it is just magnificent. I don't think you could rebuild that structure. I think that $2,000 a foot would be a conservative low estimate, but if we use that, that would put the building being worth $120 million. Now, our research shows that Mar-a-Lago has just nobody knows for sure, but as best we can determine, an annual revenue of approximately $20 million. Now, that doesn't really include the initiation fees that they get, which I understand are like $200,000 a member. Today they have 500 members. So there is an enterprise value of Mar-a-Lago that no other real estate of its type in Florida will have. And so I just am taking a wild guess that Mar-a-Lago may net $10 million, $22 million a year in a net profit before tax. So if we take that $2 million a year, and that's roughly 20% of the annual revenue, which I concede is high, but the fixed costs are already paid for. There probably is some depreciation remaining, although there's probably very little left on the books since he's owned it since the 90s. The depreciation may have run out by now, but I'm sure there have been some improvements that they're continuing to depreciate. So the fact of the matter is, I will concede it is a wild guess. But the annual net profit should be between $1 million and $2 million. So if we give that a multiple of 8, because there is no other property or enterprise like it of which I'm aware in Palm Beach, that would add another 8 million, just call it 10 million to the enterprise value. We're now up to 430 million. I'm going to add 5 million of value for its historical significance. And I'm going to subtract that immediately for the diminution in value of being under the flight path of Palm Beach International Airport, which is a mere 3 or 4 miles away. So when we factor all of that in, we come up with an enterprise or a total value of 430 million, which is almost exactly the number that President Trump came up with when he listed it on his financial statement that Judge Ingeron has found him guilty of fraud because of Trump's overstating the value of Mar-a-Lago. And while Judge Ignoramus says that it's worth between 18 and 20 million. Well, I hope that you will conclude, as I have from today's tour, that is an absolutely absurd, ridiculous. Actually, it is intellectually dishonest is what it is. So I think that is grounds for Ignoramus being removed, not from the case, but from the bench. It is an absolute fiction that he has made up because he and Letitia James are determined to prevent Donald Trump from becoming the 47th president of the United States. Well, they have the American people to answer to, and the American people, I think, are able to see through their lies and their dishonesty and the true value of Mar-a-Lago, $430 million. You heard it here first. Well, no, actually, you heard it here second or third or fourth. But regardless, you heard it here. I'm telling you the truth. I'm John Gordon. Thanks for tuning in.